1月19号将会是迎来2025年一项历史性的记录。我敢说啊，以后在人类历史上要论到2025年1月19号全世界最大的事情，恐怕没有一个可以胜过它。
你跟我说清楚，到底发生什么事了？
好了，废话不多说，我想大家都已经猜得出来，那就是美国政府呢将要禁止 TikTok 应用社交软体在美国境内可以被手机上网使用。TikTok 在美国的注册用户已经高达了 1.7、1.8亿这么多人了哈，所以呢，Joe Biden 总统呢，在2024年4月24号的时候，就签署了一项法案，叫做《保护美国人免受外国对手控制应用法案》。这个法案就是要求说啊，在2025年1月19号以前 ，TikTok 的母公司，也就是字节跳动呢，必须要将 TikTok 出售，否则就会在美国被禁。因为字节跳动这家公司，也就是中国境内的最大的社交软体抖音的母公司 ，TikTok 就是海外版的抖音，这个他们自己官方上也是这么称呼的。我想年轻的朋友大概都不陌生。好，整个海外，包含像台湾，都是叫 TikTok。好，那这里就有趣了。如果说美国政府认为这涉及到美国人民庞大的个人资料，可是现在全球化的时代，各种的设备或者是软体本来就是已经进行到跨海外的情况了。就好像说在台湾，我敢说用户数最多的这个聊天或者说沟通软体就是 LINE 嘛，好，可是我们也知道 LINE 并不是台湾公司啊。如果说像使用 Google 地图、Google 导航也是一样的道理啊。为什么美国偏偏针对 TikTok 呢？如果真的要就美国人的安全问题的话，怎么会因为一个应用平台的软体就可以变成是造成美国的国安问题？首先第一个哈，按照字节跳动这家公司所公开的证据显示呢，他们的持有权结构当中，60%是由全球投资者持有，20%是由联合创始人，那另外20%是由员工持有。以客观的角度来看，不足以说明 TikTok 母公司字节跳动背后是由政府所控制，对吧？那另外一点呢，我认为是唯一拜登政府呢可以质疑的一个理由，因为中国的政府权力是非常大的，所以中国的法律它是可以要求任何一家境内的公司都可以在政府需要的时候就做数据的分享，也因此这个是唯一比较稍微合理去解释美国政府的一个恐慌，或者说一个担心害怕。这个现象在我来看，就是美国过去并不曾经拥有过所谓的非美国以外大的占比的社交平台。我们知道美国过去一直是社交平台的龙头，好比说像 Facebook 好，或者是 Facebook 旗下的 Instagram， 甚至全球使用信件方式最大量的 Gmail， 也就是 Google 母公司，以及最大的影音平台 YouTube 等等等等。但是呢，现在 TikTok 颠覆了这一个事情，因为 TikTok 变成了在美国境内最大的一个短影音平台。而我们都知道，现在的主流趋势是往短影音平台去走，在这里面也造就了第4代的这样子的一个沟通平台。我觉得这个是美国过去的霸权模式来讲，对他而言，这个是不习惯，而且也是难以忍受的地方。如果说美国要以这个理由作为一个反制的话，就政府的角度而言，我也不能说这个不算是一个理由。但是，我认为这一点来讲，其实并没有显现出这对美国人民就一定是一个相对的保障。为什么这样说？记得我们之前谈言论自由的时候也有提到，当你如果要去限制人民的一个言论自由，像 Jordan Peterson 乔伊说，你只容易犯的错越多，好，出的纰漏越大。所以首先第一个就是，如果今天美国政府要禁止 TikTok 的话，那有没有另外一种可能是，还没有出现所谓真正国家安全以前，你就已经先成功的打击异己？当然有可能啊，因为现在美国境内的主流媒体，也就是我们讲的传统电视媒体、电视台这些公司，背后都已经是政党所把持、所操纵的工具的时候，那你怎么去说，今天你禁止了一个海外的 App 平台，你就保障了美国人民 知的权利，或者是说美国人民接收讯息的一个公平性，你不可能啊。所以我自己的看法是认为，禁止 TikTok 其实反而光是先是在政府操控的工具上面，它等于就已经伸一只手进来了。大家了解我意思吗？尽管我个人也公开表示说，我是反对社会主义的路线，是因为走到极左的时候是共产主义。可是对我而言，我不会因为觉得 TikTok 本身它的背后母公司是中国大陆的一家民营企业，我就因此认为一切的东西都泛政治化有关。我认为在言论自由的保障上面，这只手并不应该伸。我们来看一部影片，就是查理·克克要来向我们揭示出，过去美国右派若不是因为 TikTok， 恐怕川普都未必能够真的被美国人民所看见，也未必能够赢得那么多年轻支持者选票。我们一起来看这段影片。
Isabel Brown is very popular on TikTok. TikTok, by the way, is scheduled to be banned in the United States on the 19th of January, coming up in 9 days from now. It's going to be in the hands of President Trump. The law gives President Trump the ability to either keep the ban or to allow TikTok to operate or to allow it under what could be some sort of a settlement. But in the meantime, the Supreme Court may or may not strike down the law, allow TikTok to continue to operate. Over 170 million Americans use TikTok, and we reach billions of people on TikTok. Joining us now is Isabel Brown. Isabel, welcome to the program. Isabel, talk about the profound impact that TikTok has had making Gen Z more conservative.
Well, the truth is, Charlie, we wouldn't be preparing for a Trump inauguration in just over a week if it weren't for TikTok. It has been astounding to see the impact that that campaign had on one social media platform. In fact, according to TikTok employees, Trump is outperforming his performance on every other social media platform on TikTok by a factor of 5. So he's 5 times more impactful on TikTok than anywhere else. But of that nearly 200 million Americans that you just mentioned that use the platform every single day, about 70% of those individuals are Generation Z, are this next great generation that we're starting to see become overwhelmingly conservative, largely because of accounts like yours, Donald Trump's, and so many others engaging with young people in an authentic, honest conversation that feels a lot more tangible and accessible on TikTok than it does on Meta or YouTube per se.
Yeah, so just really quick, we have a minute here, and then I'm going to keep you for another segment, Isabel. What would a ban of TikTok mean for conservative creators and the progress we've been making to make Gen Z red?
What's been really fascinating this last week is that there's been a much larger conversation opening up related to free speech on social media, not just from the First Amendment perspective, but from content policy and moderation perspectives too. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg just said they're backtracking on Meta to get rid of fact checkers and censorship of conservative ideas, largely because of TikTok. Now, I know we've all had our frustrations with certain censorship issues and accounts getting shut down over the last several years, but I've been screaming from the rooftops for about a year and a half that only one platform has been regularly reaching out to myself and other conservative creators to insist that we have a home on their platform, and that is TikTok. Frankly, the only reason that these conservative values are becoming trendy and cool again is because young people are confronting them.
Let me play some pieces of tape here of some of our viral moments on TikTok. Billions and billions of views. This video right here got 50 million views. Play cut 157.
Are you voting for Kamala?
I am.
Okay, what is her greatest...
Hey, free speech? Free speech?
Yeah, they have the freedom of speech to boo you. That's right.
Do I have the freedom of speech? Okay, so if I boo them, then it's an impediment of freedom of...
No, but I just gave you an open mic for 15 minutes. Let's just tell me, what is Kamala Harris's greatest accomplishment?
See, that's that question. You can't... Okay. The greatest accomplishment, that goes back to sort of establishing an extreme.
Email us freedom@charliekirk.com. TikTok is scheduled to be banned on the 19th, and I was a skeptic, and I saw the impact and the power that TikTok can have. I don't think it would be a smart thing to take away a platform that had that kind of impact. So, Isabel, TikTok is scheduled to be banned on the 19th of January. The Supreme Court heard the case today. We have no idea how that case will end up. It might strike down the law, which is very unlikely. President Trump has it in his ability to save TikTok. The law allows the president to strike a deal to say what is a qualified divestiture. I was just reading about it in the break. Do you think President Trump should save TikTok?
I absolutely do, Charlie, namely because this is a matter of First Amendment freedom of expression rights for all American citizens. I'd be really curious to hear everything that was said in the oral arguments today, but I do know this free speech angle was of the utmost importance for TikTok's legal team, and I'm sure will be based in existing Supreme Court precedent from a case back in the 1960s called Lamont v. Postmaster General. Way back then, American citizens wanted to receive propaganda that the United States government had deemed to be against national security from the then Communist Party of Russia. And ultimately, it was determined that your free speech rights in America don't just protect what you say out loud, but also protect what the Supreme Court called your right to receive. So when our federal government, namely Congress, from a bipartisan perspective, is making the argument that this is against the issues of national security currently occupied by the White House and by those on Capitol Hill, they're really ignoring this right to receive that Americans have baked into our Constitution to not just say something that might be unpopular, but to hear a difference of opinion as well.
The ramifications for banning TikTok, how many small businesses use TikTok? What are the economic potential ramifications here? Again, I think that something needs to be probably cleaned up on the data side, make sure that American data is not shared with the Chinese Communist Party, some sort of deal struck, maybe bring in a third-party data company. I'm just thinking out loud here. But as a creator, I was super skeptical. And Isabel, you were like, no, you got to use TikTok. You got to use TikTok. And we sent out this proclamation because we were banned so many times. We got banned from TikTok like 35 times. And Ryan was like, you got to keep posting. So we sent out this big tweet. And we said, hey, if you're going to treat us fairly, we're going to keep posting. And now we got like 5.5 million followers and billions of views. And so what would the economic impact of such a TikTok ban be?
Oh, it can't be underscored, Charlie. There are quite literally millions of American small businesses that have been built up thanks to TikTok alone in this post-COVID era that would essentially cease to exist almost instantaneously. Some economists are projecting this could yield a massive unemployment rise for Donald Trump taking office a week from Monday and would be catastrophic to the American economy. So that is certainly a concern. But as for this idea of American data, you know, I still have a very hard time believing that the true intention behind this law was to protect Americans' data. First and foremost, if this law is upheld by the Supreme Court, they are still allowed to hold on to nearly 200 million Americans' data after TikTok ceases to operate in the United States. So that data is just already out there. And we have countless documented examples of Meta selling your data to China, Russia, and the U.S. government alike. Mark Zuckerberg admitted today on Joe Rogan that the Biden administration forced them to censor certain content and to provide American data to the federal government. Airbnb has been known to sell your data to the Chinese Communist Party. So I don't really think that's what's happening here. When you see this rare bipartisan overwhelming support happening on Capitol Hill from people who can't even agree on what the definition of a woman is, the hair on the back of my neck begins to stand up, asking what's really the impetus for this. And I think so much of it has to do with the free conversations happening on the platform.
Final question here, Isabel. If President Trump saves TikTok, what would that mean for our worldview and for him? Would that be a big win?
Oh, it would be an endless win, Charlie, and I'm highly encouraging the president to do so, not just to protect this red wave conservative movement we're seeing happen with young people, but to continue encouraging conservative values to thrive across Western civilization. This isn't just protecting free speech and the exchange of ideas for American citizens, but young people everywhere, and I'm incredibly excited to see where the movement goes.
Isabel, great work. Thank you. I know you have many followers on TikTok, and I think President Trump benefited tremendously from TikTok. I don't know if he would have won the youth vote, and I do know this. He would not have won the presidency without the youth vote. Young people moved dramatically in his direction. Boomers moved in Kamala Harris's direction. Boomers were 3 or 4 points towards Kamala Harris. Donald Trump would have lost the presidency you can make an argument. It's a little bit of a reach, but it's there that President Trump might not have won the White House without TikTok. There's an argument to be made there because we know that he would not have won it without younger voters. Isabel, thank you so much.
我们都知道，川普在2016年的第一任总统的时候呢，挑起了最敏感也是最紧张的政治神经，就是中美贸易大战。这个我想我们都晓得，对吧？川普过去多次的喊话跟谈判，提高关税等等，都让中国政府也相对的面临到很大程度的头痛问题。假设中国政府真的能够来控制 TikTok 的话，我的看法反而是，那 TikTok 照理说，它内部的一个平台的审查制度，就更有可能去拦阻了共和党这一边的影片的传播力，对吧？但如果按照实质上中国政府的一个态度的话，更应该是希望川普不要当选。但是我们看到 TikTok 并没有因此就特别的去限制住了右派这一边的流量，反而这一点是我认为比较特别的一个观察点，就是我并不认为 TikTok 本身它有表现出来某种特定的筛选制度或是言论审查制度，甚至可以更大胆的说，恐怕 TikTok 的言论自由程度远胜过 Joe Biden 执政期间的 Facebook 跟 Instagram。不然为什么马克·佐克伯现在要公开表示他们自己要拿掉第三方的言论审查？好，所以我不得不说，美国在过去民主党的执政来讲，它就已经是够左，而且已经是走社会主义路线的。那今天碰到中国大陆的时候，两边在我来看只是更相似，而并没有差异更大。我接下来带大家看最近的这一个礼拜以来，美国民众关于 TikTok 的新闻是什么？是有大量的被称之为 TikTok refugee、TikTok 难民呢，纷纷转往注册中国大陆的另一款手机 App 软体小红书。小红书呢，现在最好笑是小红书是一个全中文的手机软体，可是现在有大量的美国人首次公开注册使用，并且呢还尝试去学习中文，这真的是笑翻了。为什么？就是因为你限制了人民的自由，也没有办法就能够决定人民的自由一定会往你这边移动。更何况今天进了一个 TikTok， 你怎么会又想到还有一个小红书呢？就让我们一起来看看美国右派的知名女网红 Candace Owens 她是怎么样来谈她对这一次 TikTok 事件有趣社会现象以及观察吧。
Say, I want you guys to know that I did it. I joined Revolt, the Chinese app that TikTok users are flooding to. A lot is in Mandarin. I'm trying to learn Ni Hao. Some people are claiming that this is treachery, that we are traitors to America to willingly give our data to a foreign nation. So let's discuss that. All right, so my life is crazy. It wasn't even 9 a.m. this morning before I was accused of being a Chinese spy. I'm not kidding. On X, someone called me a Chinese spy. You're obviously a Chinese spy. And yesterday I was accused of being funded by Qatar. And earlier this week, I was accused of working for the Kremlin, Russia. So I really can't keep up. I've decided that I'm just in my James Bond era. I'm working for everybody and nobody at the exact same time. So to what do I owe this later honor? Okay, well, I signed up for Revolt, as I said at the top of the show. That is the Chinese app that TikTokers are now flooding to in anticipation of the ban, which is scheduled to take effect this Sunday, unless a Supreme Court miracle takes place, meaning that the highest court in the land would have to move to block it. TikTok is going to otherwise shut its application for U.S. users. And yeah, there you go. We have a federal ban. And that feels like it is creeping onto our free speech. President Joe Biden last April signed the law in requiring ByteDance to sell its U.S. assets by January 19th. 2025, or they would face a nationwide ban. And it looks like the Supreme Court, by the way, is inclined to uphold the law, despite the fact that I will say Donald Trump has come in and said he'd like the deadline to at least be extended so that he can get into office and take a look at it. Now, some people might be asking, and I think it's a fair question, Candace, you are America first. You bill yourself as America first. How could you do this? Okay, so I'm going to explain to you why. First and foremost, because it's funny. Okay, I have a very good sense of humor, and the federal government playing whack-a-mole with Gen Z is objectively hilarious. Oh, we're going to get rid of this one. Boop, they pop up, and they found another one, and they're posting, and the posts are hilarious. We're going to get into it. And just to remind you, yesterday we discussed this, the origin of all of this. Obviously, absolutely no person with a clear thinking mind believes what they are trying to sell us right now, that this move was done because the government is just so concerned about our data. Oh, they're so suddenly concerned about, oh, we don't want China bad. They always like pick the boogeyman, China, Russia, whatever it is that they think people will just accept, right? We all know it's happening because of Israel, which controls the United States government via aggressive lobbying. They're concerned about which way the wind is blowing. We showed you that tape yesterday of Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL freaking out about not being able to control the thoughts of Gen Z. We have a generational problem, he said. TikTok is crazy. They're all pro-Palestinian. And I also want to jog your memory because they went so far as to say in the short term, which TikTokers notice, they were already suppressing speech, right? So this is because otherwise people will say, you're making this up. You have to show the evidence here. Israeli officials were bragging about their ability to control speech both on college campuses, getting various groups shut down that were pro-Palestinian, and also on social media. And so this clip I'm showing you, we showed you, I think, last year. It's Amichai Shikli. I don't know if I'm saying his name correct. Anyways, he is the head minister of diaspora affairs and anti-Semitism. And he was speaking with the Jerusalem Post about their successful effort to censor speech that they claim is anti-Semitic on TikTok. Take a listen.
We work regularly with the leadership of various social organizations. We had a lot of correspondence, especially with TikTok, because TikTok was very, very problematic, especially at the beginning of the war. They have taken a lot of steps to try and prevent anti-Semitism to go widely in their platform. It is better now than it was 10 months ago, but still there's a lot of work to do, especially on X. And actually, when you look at the recent trends of anti-Semitism in North America, we're seeing influencers such as Candace Owens, such as Tucker Carlson, who is a leading leader, an influencer, hosting someone who is a Holocaust denier. And I reacted publicly on his statements, and I think it was a disaster. And this is very, very problematic. So when I see Tucker Carlson, who is such an influencer and is a key role in the right-wing political dimension of America, hosting someone who is a Holocaust denier, we're not silenced about it, not at all. And same goes to Candace Owens.
All right, we hear you loud and clear. Like I'm saying, they were doing this in plain sight. Obviously, they rushed. The Congress passed it. Oh my gosh, we have to deal with TikTok because they have wrong ideas. Generation Z is problematic. And so here's the thing. You're not going to now gaslight these same people. You're not going to gaslight them by telling us that the government was totally cool with Facebook and the CIA and the NSA, shout out to Edward Snowden, by the way, stealing our data, spying on Americans. Yeah, the government was totally cool. Nothing had to be done urgently. And now all of a sudden it does. That really is just government level gaslighting. China is the enemy. And as our government behaves like, well, China, actually, ironically, it seems like they're taking a cue from China at the moment. The government pitch to you right now is, let us abuse you and control your speech, not China. Let us do it. Okay, maybe. Sure. What do we get in return? What do we get in return? Maybe I would let our government abuse us. We've been doing that for a long time, but we want to know what we get in return. Here's what they say to us. They say, you're going to get high taxes, unaffordable living expenses, never-ending wars that we expect you to die in that don't help your country whatsoever. You're going to get open borders. You're going to get filthy, crime-ridden cities. You're going to get students who can't pass basic literacy exams. And in the process, we'll also call you racist, transphobic, and now anti-Semitic. In the process, also, we will be forcing some vaccines into your arm. That's the trade-off, guys. You get to be patriotic. The last thing they just ask you to do is also give them all of your data, right? Why aren't you feeling patriotic to give the government all of your data? Yeah, shockingly, that pitch was not a convincing enough argument for Gen Z. They just want to say stuff on the internet while everything around them is burning. So they are signing up to Red Note, and it is pointedly hilarious, okay? Chinese people are welcoming them on the app. They're creating videos to welcome American refugees onto their app, okay? Take this one woman as just one example.
Hey, TikTok refugees. I swear to God, this is the most funny ever seen since Brexit. Okay, so my name is Roxy Cat, your cat sister here. I'm a little bit popular here. And clearly, I'm one of the people that you don't need translation to understand. Yeah, since I've been here for so long, so trust me when I say this should be your little Red Note 101. So we Chinese people, we're really kind and heartwarming. You can see us welcoming people everywhere, but there are just some certain types of people that we don't welcome at all. First of all, if you ever think Pan Express is the most delicious Chinese food, get the out of here. Second of all, if you can't tell the difference between a dragon and a lion, you got 5 seconds to learn and report to me immediately. Third, if you ever dare to mix us up with Japanese or Korean, you'll be put into the plague zone immediately. Unless that we messed up and pretend that we are Korean ourselves. Yeah, a few things. Don't say any about our country is the key to respect. But hey, if you want to talk about yours, it's okay. You're already refugees now.
You can come out.
All free.
So that's just one woman. And then it was actually kind of funny because on X, people were saying, you don't even realize what you're signing up for. This app bans people for being LGBT. There definitely are Chinese people making videos, and they're very funny. So this is meant to be tongue in cheek for sensitive people that are out there about being gay. Take a listen.
There's only 2 gender out here, male and female. If you are gay, just be gay. Don't talk about you're gay. We all know you're gay. Just don't talk about it. If you're a lesbian, you cool. You cool. If you're LGBTQ, whatever, keep it that to yourself.
So these are the rules that they're laying down for Americans that are joining the app, and some Americans are creating all of these videos and making videos to one another. Other Americans being like, we need to actually follow these rules, just like this one American user who is warning other people in the USA that we got to listen this time. Take a listen.
I'm seeing a lot of y'all showing out on this app. Behave! We are guests in this house. This is not our house. Behave! I don't want to get kicked off of this one.
I'm sorry. I just find it funny. And I'm a guest on the app. I want to see what they're doing. I want to keep track of this revolution, people revolting against the government. And you know what? I like this because it does send a strong message to our government. And the message that it's sending is we're not stupid. Okay. Despite your every effort that you're making via lobbying, the educational brainwashing that takes place in the classroom, trying to dumb down entire generations, they're not stupid. Okay. They understand that you're all a bunch of sellouts. If you are going to ask the American population to be America first, you have to be America first, right? How about you be America first? You guys have showed us that you can be Ukrainian first, that you can be Israel first, that you can be Big Pharma first, that you can be whoever it is that is signing your checks first. And then you dare look at Gen Z in the face and you say, how dare you freely give your data to China? When in reality, what you're trying to do is to emulate the Chinese system by censoring people's speech, censoring their opinions, telling them essentially your TikTok is wrongthink, and so we're going to compel them to sell. They see that. Like I said, they aren't stupid. Our government now really has become... It's like when you grow up with a friend who has a mom that's drunk all the time, and then like your friend starts drinking early, and her mom pretends to be like devastated by the fact that her daughter is involved in drinking and in drugs. And you're like, you set the example first. Like, you betrayed America first, right? So yeah, if the kids are rebelling, maybe you should think about what sort of an example you have set as a parent. And the reality is that our Congress has set a horrific example. Like I said, they have betrayed this nation first. And so I am here for this. Okay. I am on the app. I'm showing you guys a screenshot of me on the app. There you go. A millennial documenting the Gen Z revolt against TikTok. I am proud. I really don't understand much on it because I don't speak Mandarin, but I'm going to do my best. And I'm going to try to post my first video today. And that's my perspective. I actually view this to be, strangely, I know it sounds paradoxical, one of the most American things that has happened this year. Like just revolting against authoritarianism. That's what this is. And saying you can stop pretending that you have the upper hand now, that we have the upper moral hand, and like our society is being run efficiently. We'd rather willingly give our data to China because at least we know who they are. They're not pretending to be something else. That's all I'm going to say on that topic.
美国政府认为中国自己是共产国家，它相对来的封闭，而且呢，他们自己在言论审查方面是非常严格的。那如果说是不对等性的话，就变成说你去因为对方是共产国家，你认为他的言论审查非常的高，那你反过来禁止 TikTok 在美国境内，那不也是一种有样学样的吗？也就是自己不也变成是高度言论审查的一个国家吗？所以我觉得在谈论到言论自由这一点来讲，我认为封禁 TikTok 是不合理的。最后我想说一个我自己觉得比较可能符合的一个真实状况，就是大家可以想想，如果 TikTok 一旦在美国被封禁，那最大的获益者会是谁，对吧？从实际的角度，好，我们先不说这个背后是不是有特别的阴谋，好，但是就实质的获益者，我目前想得到第一个就是 Facebook 旗下的 Instagram 的 Reels， 另外一个呢就是 YouTube 这几年拼命的不断想要超车赶上 TikTok 的这个 Short， 好，那我自己也常常会做一些 Short 的短影片呢，让频道能够在一些感染力上面可以更强更快，因为你会发现很多人他愿意看1分钟以内的 Short 好的兴趣确实是比长影片要来得大。好，那换句话说，坦白讲，我认为以长期来看，小红书不太可能会是一个真正有效取代 TikTok 的这样的一个媒体，是因为小红书它在实质的形式上面，它跟 TikTok 并没有那么的相近。最接近的应该是 Instagram 的 Reels 跟 YouTube 的 Short。那你就会发现很有趣，因为 Facebook 跟 Google 他们过去都是民主党的最大金主，所以我倒觉得，如果要从另外一个角度来看的话，会不会这个其实只是一个对美国本土企业比较有利的一项限制性的政策？而这又回过来讲，这不就很像中国大陆在做的事情吗？就是对于外资企业有诸多的条件，那以尽量优先中国的陆资企业的这个最大利益为主。好，其实也就是一种保护主义。保护主义呢，就站在一个本国的角度而言，看似是有利，但是我认为保护主义带来的缺点就是它会无法产生自由的市场经济，而只要是无法产生自由市场经济的话，我认为消费者永远都会是最大的受害者，会使得定价权这件事情无法交由自由的一个供需的需求去决定，也就是自由市场经济，连总统连皇室他都无法去伸手干预市场的定价权，这个才是自由的市场经济。但是如果是保护主义的话，缺乏了良性的竞争，很容易出现劣币驱逐良币，所以保护主义本身我并没有那么的支持或者说青睐，但是在有一些重大急需的角度上的话，它或许是有其存在的必要。但是就美国今天这个事件的话，我想 Meta 跟 Google 这两个都已经是非常大的龙头公司了，他们真的营收有差到需要靠打击 TikTok 来维持吗？我想应该是不可能。好，所以呢，这就是我另外提出来的一个看法。那小红书呢？刚开始小红书的公司可能会很嗨，但是我觉得不用高兴的过早。那现在有个关键点就是说，川普总统他自己本身会不会真的去延长这个所谓封禁 TikTok 时间呢？这是有可能的。好，那我们就很高兴跟大家分享到这里。不过这一个议题确实是见仁见智的问题，因为仍然有的人会认为说，站在国家安全考虑来讲的话，美国政府可能确实有它该执行的必要。对我来讲，我只是认为现在美国政府并没有拿出非常具体的事证证明 TikTok 对美国人民的资讯有所谓的国家安全的疑虑，甚至你可以说，现在的美国人报复性的去注册小红书，不就是在告诉你说，为了我选择的自由，我的个人治安的问题，对我来讲都不是问题吗？这就是我觉得最讽刺的地方。那么你怎么看这个事件呢？都非常欢迎你在下方踊跃留言来跟我们一起分享哦。我们真的是超级神队友，我们就一起静待1月19号吧，倒数啦，拜拜。
自分にすらも呆れて This we know, the cornerstone